Alchemy. La takutuhu si natum la naum. La humafi samawati wa ma fil ard. Man daladi yashfa'u indahu ila bi itnihi ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum wa la yuhitun. Na bi shay'in min ilmihi la bima sha'a wasi'a kursiyuhu samawati wal ard. ولا يؤوتهما وهو العلي العظيم آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Yawadu Ya Allah 66 times, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yawadu Ya Allah, 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 Yawadu Ya Allah. Yawadu Ya Allah, 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 Yawadu Ya Allah. Yawadu Ya Allah, Yawadu Ya Allah, Yawadu Ya Allah, Yawadu Ya Allah. Yawadu Ya Allah, 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 Yawadu Ya Allah. Yawadu Ya Allah, 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 Yawadu Ya Allah. Yawadu Ya Allah, 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 Yawadu Ya Allah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah 66 times, inshallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallahu, la ilaha illallahu, la ilaha illallahu, la ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha Cheikh Ibrahim, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha Cheikh Ibrahim, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha Cheikh Ibrahim, la ilaha Cheikh Ibrahim, la ilaha Cheikh Ibrahim, la ilaha Cheikh Ibrahim, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha Cheikh Ibrahim. Fall, fall. Start the lie, Derijef. Cheikh will fall. Deep breath. Ooh. Salatul Fatih one time, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi lima uglika wa katimi lima sabaka nasirul haqi bil haqi wal hadi ila siratika mustaqim wa ala alihi yaka qadrihi wal miqdari aladi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Asalaam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to the family of light. All praises. Juma Mubarak, Juma Kareem. Inshallah, the beloved Cheikha Love Fire will take it from here. Cheikha Zema Love Fire. Asalaam alaikum to you. I feel like we haven't heard from you in so long. Please, please, please grace us with your presence. I'm sure you got a background to match your head wrap for us this evening or something, inshallah. It's good to see you. Sheikh, all praises. Assalamu alaikum.
Give thanks. You're the master of opening the ceremonies and the portals. Thank you.
Astaghfirullah, no master. I am just a student of Sheikh Sufi Ba. No master. Astaghfirullah.
I'll let you slide on that one this time. I know you humble, but give thanks upon Allah for the wonderful, beautiful energy opening. Just want to say Asalaam Alaikum, love and light to everyone who's here. So happy to have you here. It has been a while. I feel like it's been a good couple of months. So I had seen y'all since the retreat. So I'm so glad to see beautiful faces here, being able to catch up with everybody. Sending love and light, Nur ala Nur, to Sheikh Sufi Ba, to all the Sheikhs in the order, to everyone who's here. Blessings, love and light to your heart, to your soul, to your mind, to your body. Giving thanks for you being here in honor, for taking the time out on your wonderful Friday evening to hear me say some things, right? Happy Juma Mubarak and happy Juma Kareem. All right, well, let me go ahead and jump into this. All right, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. All right, so we're talking about lessons in life. You know, I always have to think about what comes up in my spirit that I want to talk about and share when I get to be in front of you all. And this is what came up. Make sure when you guys come in, you're muted. Okay, good, thank you. But there's a lot of conversation, at least in my side of the world, that light and using light, and we hear people say things like light codes and, you know, certain sounds and vibrations and electromagnetic this and all of these kind of things. And I just wanted to talk about some of that stuff and just kind of flow with that. What is light? You know, just talking about lessons in light, because light is connected to everything. Energy is connected to everything. So even when we talk about that sixth sense or feeling something or sensing something, you know, you're literally reading the energy off of whatever that is that you feel, what you feel from it. So we'll really get into that more. But what exactly is light? You know, light is energy made of small particles called photons. Now, over on the Reiki side, in dealing with energy, that's basically the definition of what Reiki energies are, is working with photons. And then so the question becomes, well, what is photons? Waves of electromagnetic radiation. They're electric fields traveling through space. Photons have no charge, no resting mass, and they also travel at the speed of light. So jumping back over to talking about Reiki energies, you know, Reiki energies are said to be able to move at the speed of light, also able to work on multiple dimensions, and also being able to obviously use as a distance energy system. So I could do a Reiki session on someone, or a Reiki master can do a Reiki session on someone who lives in a completely different country because of that photon energy being able to not have a resting mass and being able to travel at the speed of light. Even with Sheikh Mustafa saying Om, you know, we say Om, you know, these kinds of words, you know, Om being said to be the first sound of creation. So when we know these light codes or these light words, even when we zikr, we're saying things that are light codes, they're light frequencies. We say them because they have the propensity to shift things because of it being penetrating light. Even on the, going back to the Reiki side, one of the things that I was taught that I don't hear a lot in a lot of Reiki teachings is when you're constantly even running these energies on yourself, or even when you're constantly working with light codes, working with zikrs, working with certain mantras and things like that, you know, hekkas and you know, on the Kemetic side, when you start working with these sounds and these patterns over and over again, you're literally eating, taking in light. You're building up your light quotient. You're building up your light quotient. And so you actually need to like set that at a certain level. Over on the Reiki side, my teacher's like, set it at like 90%, you know, because there's a such thing as getting overfilled with light to where you literally have to exit your body. You know, that's the other level of, you know, we look at people like Paramahansa Yoga, Yogananda, and if you ever read the autobiography of a yogi, you know, the whole journey of all of these amazing masters and gurus and sages and spiritual people, I can't remember all of their names, but, you know, there are people documented, you know, in that culture to have basically transcended themselves and decided, you know, that they were ready to leave their body as opposed to other means doing it for them, so to speak. I would argue to say, when you're working with that much light, when you're in that much prayer constantly, when you're constantly eating that, we know these are people that didn't consume a lot of food, you know, if even at all, you know, a lot of them really very light eaters, definitely meat free, but allowing your light quotient to get to a place where it can no longer be held in the physical. So then you can choose to decide if you want to exit or if you want to set it so that you don't have that as an issue. So this is going into some of the really high, very higher sciences of moving and manipulating light and energy, even within the body, to be able to exit and come back and forth and such. So even when we talk about all of these years of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba transitioning and even still showing up, people still seeing him, you know, in present time, you know, being able to shift that light vibration between dimensions is another level of understanding how light and vibrations really work. Because at the end of the day, you know, once you exit your body, all you really is energy and light. So the freedom that comes with being able to manipulate that, should you get to a level like, is a whole other thing. So when I think about people who really reach high levels, those are the people that we talk about today. The Buddhas, you know, Ifa, all of these different deities and beings that we hear, you know, throughout history and in other cultures are people who understood how to manipulate their light quotient. And that definitely has a lot to do with being able to balance what we call the 4 body systems: the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. So also, we have to talk a little bit about electromagnetic, you know, radiation, which is the flow of energy at the universal speed of light through free space or through a material medium in the form of electric and magnetic fields that make up electromagnetic fields such as radio waves, visible light, and gamma rays. So you have like Reiki energies, and then you have other energies that are very profound and powerful, you know, cosmic energies as well that don't fall under Reiki. Like for instance, Melchizedek codes, which are angel codes. You hear people say Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael comes with a level of codes. All of these different, you know, different levels of angels and everything all have a different set of codes. And when you use those particular light codes to do certain things, and it, even with the zikrs, like, you know, you got a zikr to feel better because you don't feel good, a zikr to, you know, be able to manifest better, you know, you need some things, you know, you got a zikr to accelerate any type of healing, all of these different things. These are light codes that we use to manipulate space, time, particles. So when someone gets a Reiki session or something like that, you're literally putting your hands, you know, on people and sending that energy right into them as a channel. So that's really what a Reiki master is you're attuned to be able to channel the light. Everybody can channel the light, but what happens that's different with you actually receiving an attunement of light? An attunement, this is like an accumulation that falls under a particular tree. Because even with Reiki energies, it's like these branches and these branch offs that kind of happen. You know, there's Yasui Reiki, and then there's a branch of Kundalini Reiki. There's a branch of, you know, all of these other type of, you know, Reikis, violet flame Reiki, you know, Luna light Reiki, divine light Reiki, you know, that are all kind of branching out, which are a collected mixture of energies that's specific to what that particular light is supposed to do with that system. And it gets really, really interesting when you look at it that way. Even we talk about like crystals, you know, people say, oh, you know, crystals are considered to be quasi-life, which means that they have light in them, just at a much lower frequency than what we would range human life on or plant life on. But it has a life frequency, a light force and life force that is in it. So when we say, oh, this crystal is for the heart chakra, this rose quartz is for the heart chakra. Okay, so that is attuned to the light code of the heart chakra to benefit you when you wear that, when you interact with that particular light energy connected to that particular crystal. So everything comes back to this light, vibrational, electromagnetic radiation energy. Radiation just means it's an energy that's radiating. It's just an energy, it's just a light that's radiating, right? So, and Reiki means light, and Ki means force. So Reiki is also knowledge and wisdom used to understand the energy patterns of life. All right. Any questions about that so far? Anyone have anything before I move on? All right, good deal. So in talking about light, I also wanted to go over the laws of vibration, breaking that down more specifically, because really to understand light, you know, you do need to have a little bit of knowledge of the 5 standard vibrations. So vibration is acceleration of the frequency of the body where the spirit, the light of the soul, resides. The vibratory rate of a person is dictated by his ability to channel light. The vibratory rate of a person is dictated by his ability to channel light. So we talk about where you're vibrating at. You know, this kind of goes back to talking about what station are you on. I was saying this on the WKFK radio show the other day about how, you know, when we talk about stations in our order, what station, you know, what radio waves are you tuned into? Like literally, you know, what radio station, what radioactive waves are you tuned into? Because that dictates your ability to channel light. So obviously, if you're vibrating on a lower level, the lesser the ability for you to channel light. The higher your vibratory rate, the more easier it is for you to process and access and gain the benefits of light. And of course, everything in between is a mashup. So when we go back to talking about Reiki, when you receive a Reiki attunement, one of the biggest benefits that it gives you is that it's opening up your meridians and your energy channels to be wider and more able to receive more light at one time. So you're able to process a lot more light. And the more you run that energy, the stronger it becomes over time. So let's talk about the 5 standard vibrations, right? So vibration number 1, the physical plane, and I'm going to go into them individually, but I just want to tell you them. The first one is the physical plane. Vibration number 2 is the mental plane. Vibration 3 is the spiritual plane. Vibration 4 is the soul plane, and vibration 5 is the universal plane. Okay, so the first vibration, which is the physical plane, reflects the physical plane of existence. It is associated with the physical reality of the material world and is related to the environment as our physical body interprets it. So how you interpret the physical. We associate ourselves with our immediate surroundings and relate these surroundings to our inner bodies. So now we're talking about the inner reflecting the outer reflecting the inner. So we know that we change things from the inside out. So when you develop and you work on your internal light, your internal energy, you're nurturing the soul, you're nurturing the spirit through light entering the body. Even going into foods, you know, one of the reasons why sun foods or ITAL food or living food, if you will, or live enzyme foods, what we call, you know, raw food, you know, things like that, but fruit, salad, you know, those kind of things, not overcooked and still as much raw as possible, is such a big deal because it's packed with sunlight energy. So you eating those live foods is what also enlivens the body. When you have a diet that is very heavy and cooked foods, very heavy, rich foods, cornbreads, carbs, rice, all of those kind of things, that's when we get what we call the itis. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You're tired, you're dragging, you're sleepy because you just ate a lot of food that doesn't have very high amounts of sun energy, or it's been cooked out of it because it's been overcooked. So the energy has dissipated from it. Whenever we overcook our food, we're killing the energy of it. We're robbing it. The heat just sucks it all out. So we're really not supposed to overcook our vegetables. They shouldn't be crunchy, but they also shouldn't be mushy. You know, so the more we can keep those live enzymes and minerals alive, the more light we actually consume. When we juice, when we spend time in the sun, when we connect to the earth with grounding and walking with our shoes off, things like that. All of that is you connecting to other light forms and energies in nature, sitting next to the water, getting in the ocean. All of this stuff is a frequency that you choose to engage and be a part of. And ultimately, come out of that feeling like you received a charge. If ever you're feeling stressed, depressed, anxiety, unbalanced, take your shoes off, go outside and put your feet on the ground, like ground down, not on that fake grass stuff either. Find you either some real grass or some dirt. You better off with some rocks, all that fake grass stuff. Try to find you some real earth to put your feet on. Or sit down, Indian style, and connect your whole root chakra to the energy of the earth. It's going to pull whatever you need to release from you so that you can get some relief, pull some of that stress, some of that anxiety, and be able to connect, meditate while you are sitting, you know, or while you're standing. If you're even someone who sun gazes, sun gazing while barefoot, standing up, you know, in the morning during sunrise is the best time to sun gaze, and in the evening as the sun is going down. I don't recommend you do any sun gazing at high noon, you know, when the sun is at its highest point. I mean, I can do it because I've been practicing it for years, but if you're someone who's new to taking in direct energy light that way, it completely helps to start healing and rejuvenating the pituitary gland, the pineal gland. And whenever you start really activating and working on the pituitary gland and the pineal gland, that automatically sends that energy down your Jacob's ladder energy, right? You know, down through yourself and into the other chakras and through the body. And the amazing thing about sun gazing while you're also grounding barefoot is you're getting that sunlight energy and getting that earth energy coming in at the same time and meeting in the middle and creating this perfect balance, you know, of masculine and feminine energy right there at the same time. So this is why it's a really, really powerful combination to do those two things. Now, you sun gaze and ground and zikr at the same time. I don't know what would happen, but I think we, if you haven't, that sounds like a really, really good idea to me. I'm going to do that tomorrow. Who's in with me? I want to hear everybody's story. If you sun gaze tomorrow evening while you barefoot, while you running your beads and zikring, I think I might have just figured out something there. Something's there for that. So I'll have to follow up about that. All right, so the second law of vibration is the mental plane, all right? And so I also want to say the physical plane, the first one, I would also say that would be connected to like the root chakra energy, okay? Which is, you know, physical, our balance, you know, how we see things, definitely how we support ourselves and things like that. The second law of vibration reflects the plane of existence. It involves how the mind interprets its surrounding environment and relates to our ability to use discernment in what we believe and what we think. The mental plane is the means through which we validate our existence to ourselves and is the natural way by which we work our way through our everyday lives. So the mind. So we talking about the energy of the mind. We coming right back to talking about the light and energy of the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. You know, so our thoughts, that's why it's so important that we understand these energy centers that we have, because what we need to manifest, what we need to shift, you know, again, the higher your vibratory rate, also the quicker a lot of times and the faster those prayers are sent out. You know, the faster the kickback, the faster the stuff starts to come in of what it is that you're asking for, what you're looking for, what you're wanting to heal. So where you vibrate at has a lot to do with how quickly or how slowly things, you know, kind of move in your life. You know, over on the comedic side, like if you get a reading done and they pull secure, you know, secure is like a scholar, very smart, but secure is known to be very slow, you know, energy, very sluggish, very snail, slothy kind of energy. It's like whatever it is that you're asking about, it's coming, but it's going to be a minute, you know, kind of thing, you know. And if you're trying to move a little faster, it's like, okay, I got to do something to speed up my vibratory rate, you know, with this to help out a little bit. So, you know, when you do certain prayers and certain hadiths and things like that, that speeds up things. 1 minute you're here, then the next minute you're like, wow, how did I get over here? And I can definitely say I'm on the accelerated program in this lifetime for sure. It's not, I'm finding myself very quickly in certain places I wasn't expecting, but expecting at the same time. But when you on that accelerated program and you start thinking things and it just shows up, you know, that's the level that you really want to be. However, all energy has its duality. So what you think, going back to the mental, what you think, you know, is what you're calling in, what you're attracting, you know. So you also need to try to be as positive, you know, as possible in your thinking, especially when it comes to you wanting to manifest, because you don't need the negative energies on the line, static on your line, when you're trying to use these light codes and these energies to do something in particular. When you doubt what you're trying to do, when you don't believe that it can actually happen, when you don't really sit in the space of knowing. Because really, when we look at energy and we think about the knowing aspect and kind of coming out of the believing, you know, because belief in truth, you know, is not the same. And so when you say, okay, I know that I can do this, I can make this happen, you know, even if you don't know the how or the what, you know that it's possible. You know that miraculous things can happen. You know that Allah can, you know, manifest anything for you as quickly as the speed of light. So keeping that in mind, you know, the faster you are vibrating, the faster you're able to pull things in or also pull things out. It is a double door when it comes to these things. So when we talk about, which I'll talk about later, you know, we'll talk about dark light versus what they call white light and how those both work. We've been taught that one is this dark, you know, aspect of light, what we would call, you know, the shadow energy. That's just really a small part of it, you know, because all of us came out of, you know, black light, if you will. When you're in the womb, when we look into the sky and we see the whole backdrop of the sky, you know, is black. When we look at the sky, do we say, look at all that shadow energy? No, we do not. So we know that that's connected to the primordial womb, you know, of creation. Whenever we talk about dark matter, dark substance, all of those kind of things, we're always really talking about the mother. newt, those kind of energies. So, which is the what I call the mother molecule energy, but it's still a light. You have to have the mother molecule light and the father molecule light in order to create the energy necessary, the light necessary to spark life. No matter what's going on concerning battle of the sexes that we have going on, at the end of the day, nothing will ever change that the masculine and the feminine still has to come together in light to create life. No matter what, nothing will change that. No matter what's said, how it's misinterpreted, at the end of the day, it takes those two genders to create life. Period. It's really no argument. If you're in that argument, stop. You know what you know. You understand biology, you understand science, you understand the basis of spiritual concepts, then can't nobody tell you that you don't know what it takes to produce life. You can't mimic that. You can't fake that. It is what it is. It's laws that are unchanging. It's a law that will never be changed. No matter what you do to your outside, it's a law you can never change. There's nothing racist about that. There's nothing sexist about that. It's just what the law of the physical plane is. So, any questions about that? All right. So let's move on to the vibration 3 of spiritual plane. All right. So the third plane reflects the spiritual plane of existence. This plane is the heart of life and where we are allowed to relate our conscious thoughts to our physical reality. This spiritual vibration is one of great importance to our growth and development in regard to feeling our connection to the source of our existence. We are by nature spiritual bodies, but our physical and mental capacities can stifle the evolutionary process towards ascension. We need to become open spirits with pure intentions in order to reflect this vibration. So this is definitely along the lines of the heart vibration. The mental plane, the previous one, that's gonna fall more in your, your kind of third eye, mental brain capacity. And some people would actually also say your solar plexus, because we actually hold a lot of mental energy in our solar plexus as an energy center as well. We hold a lot of light there too. As a matter of fact, when you give or receive a Reiki attunement, the energy is coming from your solar plexus to the other people that you are sharing that attunement with or passing on that attunement to. So we hold a lot of that energy in our solar plexus for a lot of mental energy as well. So the spiritual plane, that's really talking about living through the heart. And this is why they're saying our physical and mental capacities can stifle the evolutionary process towards our ascension. So again, if you're vibrating at a low level, that's going to affect you mentally and physically. When we have low mental light, it's very hard to deal with reality, to make the best choices for yourself, to do the things that are considered to be more righteous, because your mind, and they say, the old hip hop song, "Hey homie, my mind playing tricks on me." Dun, 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 dun. All right, that was for you, Cheikh Sufi. That was for you, okay? So, but for real though, your mind starts to play tricks on you, and when your mind starts playing tricks on you, when they say, "Hey, when you take the head, the body follows, the rest will follow. And that's a tactic that's been used, so many times, to tear apart a lot of things in history. You take the leader, and the organization and the vision and the dream fails with that, right? And it's because, when you start getting, mental inadequacies, you definitely start to have physical inadequacies, because if you're not thinking clearly, you're not thinking smart, you're not vibrating on a certain level, then, your choices are going to reflect, other circumstances are going to reflect that. And you are going to hard, to want to work more on your diet and exercise more and find the time to cultivate a lot of things. Because one thing about our mind is that it can also develop, you being very slow to develop, to do the work, very slow, to get certain things done. And it just slows you down. And so work is probably not going to happen because you're not doing the physical work. And because, you're also not mentally clear on what it is you need to do because of where you're vibrating at. Now, all of that has an effect on how you're moving and vibrating on a spiritual level. So this is the difference where you could, look to have something, give something, do something, be involved with something, and you're doing your prayers, and doing the khidma also, because it's not always about just asking for stuff. You also should be giving stuff, because at the end of the day, it is a reciprocal situation that is happening, energy to energy. So with that being said, you should be giving more than you probably should be asking for, and not necessarily being greedy. And you should also, be using these light codes and different things as well to also help other people that that need things to be able to manifest stuff. Pray for your grandmother who's not feeling well, pray for such and such whose house just went in foreclosure. Pray for such and such who just got let go from their job, or whatever the case may be. You can use all of this stuff, to not only help yourself, but to help people that you love, people that you care for, people in your community that you also want to share light. But when we give, bayat, and we do all these different things, we're sharing light. Here is this particular light right here that can help you in your life, that can help you navigate, that can help you remember, because I'm not even going to say help you connect with God, because you're already connected to God. It's the illusion that's in the way. It's the low vibrational mental capacity that you're working with, the low vibrational physical capacity that you're working with, that has now created a blockage to where you forgot about your connection to Allah. Made you forget that you're not by yourself, made you forget that there are these light codes out here that you can use in the first place. So that's why the spiritual plane is very important, and why having the mental and physical aspects in balance. All right, the fourth vibration reflects the soul plane of existence, and is where we manifest our reality into the essence of our creation. We're able to feel the life force through our entire being. We are a reflection of why we were created. This level helps us to understand why we are under the soul levels that we are under, and how to ascend to the next level of the journey. Okay, so I'm going to go over that, but I'm going to stop real quick. I see Brother Corey Salam, you have a question?
Yes, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Asalaam alaikum and Derijef to Cheikha Zema Love Fire. You are delivering a powerful message to this our Darrah. Alhamdulillahi for what you're saying, because I just wanted to say something really quick, and I'm not going to talk your ear off. I've learned, and I know that most of us are learning, that the most benefit that you get from these qasidas is, one, you marry one or marry all of them, inshallah. And two is when you pray and do the light work for other people. Again, Derijef, for this fire lecture, no pun intended. You already know, love and abundance to you.
Derijef, give thanks. Shukrum. I appreciate it. Absolutely. So yeah, as I said, it's a give and take, you know. So people ask for stuff, and it's like, well, what have you given? You know, you got to give something too. Some people will just feel like, oh, well, this person is just, you know, so lucky, you know. And I'm gonna be honest, like I remember when I was younger, I just had a lot going on, you know, as a child. I had a record deal from the age of 14 to almost 19. So very much involved with that. And then I also was a full-time student, and then trying to have some kind of social life, hanging out with my friends as much as possible. But I wasn't happy. And that's why I didn't want to continue with that. I definitely thought that I was going to be a traveling musician. I never imagined a lot of these things, you know, where I'm at now, manifesting, and just the route that I've taken in life. But one of the things, you know, I want to say about that is that, like, it's so many things, you know, out here to knock you off your square, to make you forget, you know, about what you have, what's really in your who, you know, what you really are, you know, beyond this flesh and bone, and just the stress and just not being happy, but like learning to cope, and all of these coping mechanisms. And then we have all of these coping mechanisms that starts to condition and layer over the light. So when we talk about doing the shadow work is you healing and moving through and sorting out all of those conditionings and those traumas, whatever the mommy issues are, whatever the daddy issues are, whatever those things are that have started to layer over the real self. This is ultimately what starts to develop the masked self, the fake self, the self that you identify with in order to cope, because you're protecting the vulnerable, hurt self. And so, you know, when people say, you know, like they'll say, like, when you first start dating someone, you're really meeting their representative. You know, when you go on an interview, you know, you're introducing your representative, you know, things like that, you know. And over time, you know, when you start getting into the coping mechanisms again, you know, the mass self kind of starts to take on a life of its own, which starts to bring the vibration down even lower, brings your light quotient down even lower, because now you start identifying with the masked self and not with the true authentic self. So now you're completely off your path of who you're supposed to be here. And now you're like this thing over here. And now, because you have these coping mechanisms, now what you're trying to do is figure out how to control not feeling the low vibrational energy that's kicking up. And what I mean by that is the depression, the anxiety, the feelings of lesser than, not having confidence, you know, being unsure about everything, being scared or afraid, you know, to really make a move, kind of feeling stuck and stagnant, you know. And so some people with that, if that's not managed well and you're not in the right situations to be able to heal that, now the coping mechanisms to cope with the traumatic and conditioning mechanisms can look like becoming an alcoholic, a drug addict, suicidal, just a self-sabotaging person, or being sabotaging to other people, just not making good choices in your life, and digging yourself a hole, and then getting to the place where, constantly not respecting and loving yourself starts to bleed out, and it's what I call when people start busting at the seams. Busting at the seams, for me, energetically, just kind of is like when people are energetically fuming. Like you can, I don't know, you can be around someone and you can just pick up on this vibration that there's a lot of anger and a lot of frustration. And even though they're sitting there kind of looking chill, it's like you feel this seething kind of energy, where just even any little thing that happens is carried out in such an irrational behavior that everybody kind of looking like, well, where did that come from? Because people build up. You got some people that will build up, build up, build up, and then nothing big has to happen. And it's like this big blow up situation. And then again, they'll build up, build up, build up, oscillating thing. It builds up, and then it explodes, and so that looks like a lot of things. People getting hurt, holes in the wall, folks just, doing a lot of really irrational and brash things, and just saying a lot of very mean things, and just really being in that low vibrational energy. And then from there, things start to shift. And then you get into this whole thing of what we call like bad luck and, bad happenings, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, because now you're hanging around people who's in that same, low vibrational energy capacity. And now, the deeper you get into those lower vibrational energies, the harder it is for you to start digging yourself out, because it takes a lot of focus to heal in the same place that you got sick. If you're able to get out of that situation and do it, it's a blessing. But when we think about all of the people who are vibrationally stuck in certain places because they haven't found that light yet to help them start digging themselves out and freeing themselves of those heavier conditionings and energies, just can't get past the fact of, what happened when they were younger, or who abused them or mistreated them. Some people really get stuck there. Even when we talk about psychology, they say whatever age that your worst trauma happened is typically where you tend to get stuck at psychologically. You could be 65 years old, but still have a mentality of an 18-year-old when you was violated in some way, and get stuck and not actually able to mature and develop past a certain stage because of that experience. And what's really interesting about that is I work with a system called crystalline Reiki. And crystalline Reiki is really, really cool because it's the Reiki that comes in and addresses the trauma that is locked in the physical. Because when we have trauma, it doesn't matter if it's, whatever kind of physical abuse, or it doesn't even really have to be abuse. It could be trauma from being in a car accident, or falling off your bike and really getting hurt, or, breaking a bone or something like that somehow from an accident or whatever. And what happens is your body creates these energy crystals, and they're memory crystals. So those crystals literally deposit in the area where that trauma happened. So this is the reason why someone can get in a car wreck and 10 years later, they still have that back pain, or they still have that little something in their shoulder that doesn't quite go away, or something in their knee, whatever. And people are like, man, I hurt my knee way back in college. And it's like, that was 25 years ago. Yeah, it ain't never stopped bothering me. because literally your body holds these energy crystals, memory crystals that are connected to those particular traumas. You know, so when we talk about trauma bond, it's on a whole nother level than what we really talk about when we talk about trauma bonding. You know, that stuff is energetically, it's pretty rough. So crystalline Reiki comes in and helps to dissolve and break down those memory crystals so that you can experience some relief. Now, the only downside I would say about that is that it's one of the energies that's not really so much considered a Reiki energy, but it's also not available for distance sessions. It's only available for in-person sessions, and it also requires 2 sessions, one and then another one 2 weeks later, to basically come back and address any possible remnants that, you know, maybe didn't fully dissolve. So we come back and make sure that everything is good with that particular area. But in terms of thinking about traumatic situations, I've seen this energy work very powerfully, especially when it comes to clients that I've had that have experienced sexual abuse. You know, just the things that happen around removing the energy crystals, you know, in the sexual organs. That's real shadow work. You know, it's real shadow work to be able to release that, and the relief that comes with that, you know, the pain, you know, that's lifted, the mental, you know, conditionings around that, and the fears that you've been carrying in your life, the, you know, all of the things that you've done to be, you know, avoidant, you know, of connections and relationships, and, you know, avoiding intimacy, and all of these different things that comes with that sort of thing begins to lift off of you, so that now, you know, you have a propensity to take in more light. I tell my students over on my school side, you know, that, you know, these energies are so important. Energy medicine, light medicine, because at the end of the day, we're really talking about medicine. You know, the Quran is a book of medicine, you know, mental medicine, you know, physical understanding of medicine, spiritual medicine, vibrational medicine, the zikr medicines, all of it is different forms of medicine that you can use. So when we talk about using these energies, these light medicines, it's the stuff that we've been missing that kind of became lost to us for so long. You know, with all of the wars that went on this planet between, you know, different cultures, and the religious wars and whatever else, at the end of the day, it interrupted, you know, some of our connections with light medicines. A lot of people took a lot of this information either underground, or quit practicing or teaching or sharing some of these things. And this is why, you know, when we have an amazing soul like a Sheikh Amadou Bamba and Sheikh Iwafal come to this planet, they're the reminders of how these things get reinstated, how they are brought back, how what is lost is returned through these amazing beings that come here to remember that light, come back here to reintroduce that light, come here to tell you exactly how to do it, how to administer it, how to inject it, how to make it pierce through the darkness in order to allow you to grow and evolve and do what you need to do as a spiritual being having a human experience. At the end of the day, you're really just animated light. So understanding and knowing light is kind of important as a light being. It's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. All right. Let me check something, make sure. Okay. All right. So the fifth plane, the last plane, which is a universal plane. The fifth vibration reflects the universal plane of existence. This level is the vibration of oneness with the force of universal light, where the soul meets the creator and unconditional love manifests itself into the universe. This vibration is the level to which we all aspire in our journey from the corporal essence just means the physical material nature, okay, to the universal essence or divine spirit created us to create this level. So our divine spirit created us to create this level. That's pretty profound. That's pretty profound. So I'm gonna say that again because this says our divine spirit created us to create this level. Doesn't that sound just like when we say Allah created Allah to be Allah, to live as Allah? That's saying the exact same thing. Allah created us to create our level and to understand our universal plane of existence. So it's part of our design. It's part of our design. Always a part of design. I'm gonna read some of this. It's a lot of comments. Make sure I'm catching everything. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the universal plane of existence, I mean, we're really just talking about the all, the oneness that connects us all, you know, the collective breath that connects us all, nature that connects us all, the water that connects us all, the sun that connects us all, the moon that connects us all, this planet that we're on that connects us all, Allah that connects us all. It's all just a big circle of light when you think about it. And interestingly enough, when I very first started to sit with grandmother back in, I think, 2012, and I remember I would open my eyes and I'm looking at everybody sitting around the room, and I literally saw this ball of light sitting right in front of everybody's third eye. I just was like tripped out because I was like, wait, I'm looking, everybody just has this ball of light sitting right in front of their third eye. And I saw that several times when I first started out. And it reminded me, you know, later on, years later, I understood what that was showing me, you know, as far as the light that we all have, that we all carry, you know, I mean, that's essentially where we get, you know, we see pictures of, you know, Isa, you know, certain holy figures that have that halo of light around their head. Like, no, like you got that for real. Like you have that for real. Whether you can see it or not, that is a representation of your crown of light that you have. It's not just saying that this person in this picture has that. No, it's showing you the reality of what you have too, because what you forgot. Because why? Because your mental, for whatever reason, can't wrap itself around something that is outside of its range. when we talk about really being able to think outside the box, that means that there's going to be concepts that don't fit into that frame. And if you're going to really delve deep spiritually into definitely Sufism and Islam and the mysticism of Islam, the esoteric aspects of Islam, the light medicine of Islam, you have to be able to think outside of your brain matter. You have to be able to think from your heart center. You have to be able to have your higher energy systems open and available to receive. So having that mind, body, mental, and emotional self in balance plays a huge role in energetically what you're able to do and how proficient you're able to do it. Any questions about anything? Thanks for the comment. All right, very good. Well, okay, so I want to go over the black light and the white light so we can differentiate between that. Yes, Brother Corey. Salam.
Pardon me. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Pardon me. What are some techniques that you use to get more in tune and in touch with your intuitive? I know that I've been experiencing some spiritual downloads this August, and I was just curious to know how to just get more in tune, so to speak. Thank you again.
Oh, Derijef, good question. So one of the things that I do that I highly recommend is definitely meditating. Meditating is one of the most important things for being able to, calm and balance out the mind, the left and right hemisphere of the brain, and also meditating and doing visualization exercises, creating affirmations, and zikkering, studying, reading the Quran, reading the Qasids, reading all of those things, because they're all forms of light that help you along your journey. These are your reinforcements. When we say, oh, you fall down, but we get up. What are your reinforcements? What's your energetic band-aids? What's your energetic, heart healers? What's your energetic light codes, to support you through those hard and rough times, whether it's financial or health or any of those kind of things. That's where you have to get into the energy side of things. That's why I was talking about the grounding, and sun gazing is one of the best things that you can do when you are really feeling like you're in a low vibrational place, because taking that, listen, our pituitary gland and our pineal gland eats light. Okay, so when you decide that you want to sun gaze, you're literally allowing your pituitary gland and your pineal gland to be able to directly receive that light right into the energy centers of the body. It goes right in and just goes right down through the body. And if you're standing outside, you're getting that circulation of sun, earth energy, balancing out the male and female energy, like I said before. Father, Son, Mother, Earth. So,
Shukran.
So yeah, you use those tools. We have free healing mechanisms around us at all times. Sitting outside to get some fresh air can do something for you. Like I said, grounding, taking your shoes off, spending time outside, walking, exercising, stretching, doing yoga. These are all things that cost you nothing to utilize. It doesn't cost you to walk. It doesn't cost you to sit on the grass or sit on the ground. It doesn't cost you to sun gaze. It doesn't cost you to meditate. It doesn't cost you to stretch. It really just comes down to you deciding to make time for you and not procrastinating about it. As I said, when people say you get in the way of yourself, it's like, I was just telling some people the other day, I'm like, look, a lot of people have awareness. Most people have awareness. They have awareness that they have an issue with something. They have awareness of, you know, what's happened to them in their life. They have awareness of what they need to work on. Most people, you ask them, well, what are some things you need to work on? My attitude and how I did it. Like, people know, you know, that they have certain things that they need to address and deal with. However, just being aware and knowing is not enough. Once you are aware and you know, then the question is, well, what is the action to address that? We've gotten to a time now where energetically a lot of things are changing and the energy is rising, you know, on this planet. You know, a lot of seals have been broken in the sense of more information coming forward and more of what has been hidden coming to the light to be addressed and to bring even a more deeper sense of awareness. So just even as a collective, a lot of things are kicking up. A lot of things we're finding out wasn't what we thought it was, or things showing up that we lost in time, and whatever that looks like. There's a huge emergence of a lot of things, you know, that are being reinstated. And so when we talk about light medicine, energy medicine, that goes into the plant medicines too. You're consuming the light of nature in these plant medicines. Because one of the things that we've been missing for so long, as I was saying earlier, about how a lot of things, certain people are chosen to bring those things back in that were either lost in time or a certain time had to come about before it could be introduced, or, you know, sometimes things need to be enhanced, you know, because the times have changed. You know, sometimes these things, you know, evolve to another level, and that has to be introduced to the populace in some way, shape, or how. So all of these things, you know, now energy medicine is the thing. So, you know, the Kundalini energy of Earth moves every 26,000 years. It used to be every 100 and something thousand, every 400 something thousand, but because time is speeding up, things is getting faster and faster. So now we're at every 26,000 years. And if you go and you look at how the Kundalini energy of the planet has moved, that was the thing that kind of blew up a little bit in the world. So we know that, like, Kemet is one of the first places, you know, that we tend to see, you know, oh, they built these pyramids, they had all these amazing high sciences, you know, all of this amazing light messages and codes and heka'us that they left behind, you know, and the writings on the wall and all of these different things. And then after all that's said and done, you know, we have someone like Ra-Nephra-Men that comes in as a whole translator, scholar, channeler of these energies that was, you know, chosen by, you know, those particular, you know, beings to come here and be able to reinstate a lot of this stuff that was lost to help us interpret, you know, the Baba Herus in New York, and, you know, the, you know, Ankh Samaj. I'm thinking about all of these people, you know, the Queen Afuas, and, you know, all of these master teachers that we see that are remembering and reminding us that are coming back, you know, and they come back, you know, ever so often, you know, sometimes they overlap, sometimes they don't, but there's always people, you know, that are the ushers of that time, to usher back in certain things, to, like I said, to bring back a remembrance. And so because energy medicine, light medicine, has been missing for so long in our healing, as I was saying before, with the energy moving every 26,000 years, you had Egypt, then we had like India, you had China, you know, Japan, all those places, you know, we know India, the Taj Mahal, all of the deities, you know, and what they're offering to the world. You know, we had, you know, the yoga and all of those things that they brought. And then we move over here to Japan, China, you know, they brought in, you know, a lot of the Kung Fu, light energy arts, you know, all of that. They really brought in, you know, a lot of those kind of things, you know, a lot of what we call traditional Chinese medicine, which is actually based on the energy flow in the body, the chi. You know, if you have a energy blockage in your meridians, you know, or in certain organs and things like that, you know, they give you herbs that have a particular light code that helps with the particular issues and energy blockage that you have. You just meeting one energy with another. We say, oh, take peppermint tea because you have a sore throat. Well, that's because it has a particular light code that addresses things that have to do with the throat. So when we look at how we use Zickers and things like that, okay, so you're trying to do this, so okay, this is a light code to address that. So you use this particular light code 166 times, or you use this particular light code 111 times, or you need to chant this so many times a day, 200 and something times, and for a week, that's your prescription. So when Sheikh Sufi gives us the prescriptions, how long, how many, and what needs to be said, he just gave you a light code prescription to address whatever it is it's supposed to address. We've been so long as, you know, human beings, we got very much sidetracked with allopathic medicine, you know, Western medicine. And a lot of people don't always respond well to that medicine. You know why? Because their issue is better addressed with energy and light medicine than it is with allopathic medicine. And sometimes even herbs is good, but you still may need that energy medicine. Someone being on particular herbs, if you don't know, when you start using herbs to heal something, it's not really immediate. It can take 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes 3 to 4 months, depending on what the ailment is, before you start seeing some results. Okay, so it's a slower energy. Now, if you are taking those herbs for something specific, and then you're also working with Reiki energies, you're also doing your herbs, but you're also doing Zickers, and you're also doing prayers in relation to that need. And you're creating like a system, like a circuit. You know, the circuit of energy is, you know, you doing the meditations, you doing the visualizations, you doing the Zickers, you know, you reading the Quran that's based on what your needs are. Then if you want to throw in sun gaze in there. And so now you see how there's like a whole program of light that you can start to develop into a habit, a practice. What Sheikh Sufi tell us? You know, a Sufi has a daily practice. What is your daily practice around you building up your light quotient so that you can start healing and neutralizing and transmuting the low vibrational energies in your life, so that you can open yourself up more to receive and to be able to manifest some things quicker. So like I'm saying is, with that being said, about having a daily practice. So the more you exercise these things, the more you start to get out of it. But like I said, we've been missing that. We've been missing that energy for so long, to where now it's now being reintroduced, and the light is coming in so many different forms. And so one of the big things about 2012 I was leading up to saying is, that was that 26,000 year mark where it was time for the Kundalini energy to move. So where did it go? It went to Peru in 2012. It went to Peru. And this is the reason why all of a sudden, all of this light medicines out of the rainforest all of a sudden became the biggest thing. Everybody's looking for a plant medicine circle. Everybody wants to sit with grandmother. Everybody wants to do San Pedro. Everybody wants to do combo. Everybody wants to do, hape. Everybody wants to do, snake venom. And all of a sudden, everybody is really into like the light of nature. Because when we consume that particular light, it's like it just throws you right on into the other dimensions. It's kind of like a cheat sheet, if you will. It kind of helps boost you and open up some things. One of the things plant medicines does is it allows you to bring your walls down, bring those fears down, bring those hangups down, so that you can really take your mask off. Those medicines help you take your mask off for 6 to 8 hours so that you can soul travel and be free as your real self, to sit with your real self, to come out from behind the mask self and get back into understanding and connecting with the light that has been overshadowed by your traumas and conditionings. That is what is so special and unique about plant medicines. It's like a cheat sheet. You can definitely do this with other type of things. You can do this through just straight up meditation. You have some meditations that, release, endorphins and things into the body. You have some people, that can meditate and feel extremely, just high naturally, high on light, high on life, and you really get that strong, zikr going, like, with Cheikh Sufi get going, and saying you start to feel that energy and it starts raising up the light. Even when we get together at the retreats and we start la 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 la, and then we just start building it up, and then next thing you know, it's intense and we're getting louder and louder and faster, and everybody's dancing and just going off. That what we witness in that is that everybody's light quotient is starting to fill up, and you feel that energy, you intensifying in the room, and essentially we just slinging the light medicine all around. We just slinging it all around, and we dancing it, and then we absorbing in it, and we're enjoying it as a collective. So just even the power of multiple beings coming together and chanting those light codes together in the zikr circles, creates a collective light that makes it even stronger when we do it together. You definitely going to still get something out of it by yourself, but when you do it as a collective, it's no different from when we do Ramadan and we have millions of people across the world that are in observance and practicing Ramadan. Even before I was dealing with Islam or Sufism, I've done Ramadan for, I know, over 10 years. And the reason for that was because I still had a clear understanding about what was happening, because I understand energy and I understand the collective blessings that you get when a bunch of people are doing something, as a collective. So all these people fasting at the same time, praying at the same time, zikring at the same time, breaking fast at the same time, all of that is a beautiful collection of manifesting energy that we're doing together. So during that time, because everybody is feeding their light energy into the collective pot, okay, into the primordial energy, like all these 30 million people are putting all of this light energy, focusing all of this Allah energy, focusing all of these prayers. And it's just like this, if you could just imagine all these people just putting all of this wonderful big ball of light energy, as a collective all the way across the world. And little old me, I'm sitting here looking at it like, yeah, I want in on that, because that ball of energy right there, anybody who has contributed to that ball of energy got something beautiful coming, and I need to get in on that. And that's how I always saw it. I understood the collective energy and the kickback of you putting in something and getting it back, the reciprocal energy of that, because to do Ramadan is definitely Kidma. Definitely. Because it takes work to be able to go out and do a lot of the same things you have to do every day, and yet still have to fast and challenge yourself. That's why we go back to the law of the physical plane, challenging yourself on the physical plane, in order to cleanse and open up that mental, which in turn continues to open up that spiritual aspect and that mental aspect. There's no separation. It's still part of the all. So anyway, black light and white light. Black light is about absorption, accumulation, creation, mystery. Black is the fullness of color and the absence of light. Okay. So whenever we see something say creation, and mystery, I can tell you right now, whenever you see in any spiritual text, when they talking about creation and mystery, it's pretty much tied to the mother molecule or feminine energy in some way, shape, or form. Okay. White light is reflection, expression, manifestation, and power. Okay. So, and a lot of times, black light is usually connected to feminine energy. White light is usually connected to masculine energy. When we talk about sunlight, the sun being connected to masculine energy, it's the same thing. So a lot of times when we see power or expression, a lot of times that's in some way, shape, or form talking about masculine energy. Okay. So white is the absence of color and the dispeller of darkness. Black light creates white light. We look at the sky, we look at the stars, the black backdrop of the stars. It's not that different from the body, the darkness of the womb, the brightness and color, of the male part that produces a child. I'm trying to keep it clean. But yeah, it's the same, the inner represents the outer, just even, as melanated people, just how a afro can look like, the top of trees, how locks can look like branches, how our body is 80% water, like the planet is 80% water, all of that stuff, how our pituitary gland, represents, like we have our pineal gland, we have our pituitary gland, and then we have the moon and we have the sun, which both emanate light. So we're connecting to, those energies as, inner and outer. All of the rivers and, lakes and streams, but all of those different things, is indicative of our veins, and how our veins and tendons and muscles are connected in the body. When you look at a map, just of a landmass, and you see all the water and the trees and all that stuff, it doesn't look that different from the inside of our body, at all. At all. Our lungs, our lung tissue, looks very similar to certain sea vegetables and, things like that. So we are very much connected, to this inner outer reality that we can always connect with. As long as we remember that, we could never be separate. But even on an energy level, just talking about the body more, I'm going on a physical, talking about the glandular correspondences. So you got the pineal gland is the light assimilator. So talking about the positive and negative aspect, you got wisdom and confusion. The pituitary gland is the color regulator, because color is a vibration. All right. And it deals with illumination or illusion. The thyroid, the communication coordinator, deals with truth or falsehood. The thymus, the heart of the spirit, connected to love or hate. The pancreas, the life animator, connected to comfort or struggle. The sex glands, the creator, is connected to desire or rejection. And the adrenals is the staff of life, is connected to your fight or flight energy. So this is telling you right here, if you're vibrating on low or, low light, you're dealing with confusion, illusion, falsehoods, hate, struggle, rejection, and flight. But if you are vibrating on the higher light frequencies, then you get to deal with wisdom, illumination, truth, love, comfort, desire, and more of the fight energy instead of the flight energy, meaning you're able to stand your ground. You're firm in who you are. You're not going to run. You're going to stay planted, in what it is that you're not going to run from that. You're going to stand in it. So that's very important, especially in now times that, we're able to stand in that. And just as an energy practitioner, a lot of people's adrenals are drained, just from everything we've gone through lately with this pandemic and all of these. A lot of people's adrenals are very much drained. So they tapped into that flight energy with people. Everybody was so afraid that instead of standing their ground, they were in flight with fright, in flight with fright. And so a lot of people's adrenals are very much drained in that way. Any questions about that? And I'm almost about to wrap it up here. Anybody have any questions so far about anything I've just talked about? This is definitely more. I just wanted to crack into this thing. I'm not going to over talk today, but I'm going to find a stopping point here. So again, just going back to ending off with talking about meditation. Meditation is the basic concept of meditation is a practice that connects the mind and the body. Its purpose is to help increase both physical and mental peace and calm, which also helps you to learn how to live more fully in the present. Your mental resources open up when the body no longer has to worry about protecting itself from what it perceives to be a threat in your mind. Meditation increases the connection between the left and right brain. You may feel like you are making a lot more new connections between existing ideas. Our thoughts and feelings have frequencies, okay? So going back to what I said, meditation is so important in this whole process, because once you can really take control of your mind, really your mind and your heart, if you can really fully take ownership of that, you can really go far with that. You can really open a lot of doors for yourself. Just having a very heart-warming disposition, being soothing to people that are around you, just people being in your presence, feeling that healing energy coming off your person. If you ever just been around some people, it just feels good to have them around, just feels good to have them in your space. They make you feel at ease, they make you feel safe, but that's ultimately, as you move forward into, developing your light quotient energy through your practices, people start to notice that light raising in you. it's, you know, what happens is you become more youthful, I would argue to say. You know, you look younger, you look fresh, you look upbeat, the bags disappear from under your eyes, you're either getting better sleep or you're so charged up that you don't need as much sleep, which opens up for you to be more productive in your work and to get more things done, which brings on a higher level of productivity, you know, which allows you to manifest a lot quicker. You know, you open up your creative channels, you know, so ideas and things like that coming forward, that's also going to help you, you know, escalate and move things faster in your life, because now you're developing a deeper sense of understanding and how you can work with, you know, whatever that thing is on a deeper level. You know, you really start to ask more complex questions about, you know, life and existence and time and, you know, whatever comes to mind, you know, things you may have never even considered, you know, or thought about, that all of a sudden becomes of interest to you. You know, you might want to, you know, clean up your diet. You know, you might, you know, want to change, you know, a lot of things about yourself that you didn't like previously, but you're actually ready to like really commit to that change and move outside of just the idea of it and moving into the actual action part of it, because now you've raised up your light quotient to where now you have more energy to get certain things done and get to a place where, you know, your cup can start running over and now you can give from your overflow. And so, yeah, get into the light. Get into the light. So, any questions, comments, or anything at this time? I'm going to stop there, because if not, I'll be on here another hour. So, I'm going to stop there. But if anybody has any questions or comments or anything they'd like to say, now is the time. Brother Nurajan, Asalaam Alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Cheikha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I just want to say much respect on this blessed lesson and this teaching. And it's so interesting that it just aligns with what our Darrah has been doing, as well as like audiobooks I've been listening to throughout the week on the job, like, you know, like Florence Scoville and, you know, just the energy, and especially, you know, Kabbalion type Hermetica stuff. So just much respect and thank you for this amazing, amazing teaching. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bless you, Cheikha. Thank you very much.
Oh, Derijef. Derijef, give thanks upon Allah.
Cheikha Zema Love Fire.
Yes.
This talk satisfied my soul. Feeling like Bob Marley's song, The Sweepstakes one. This was satisfying to my soul. Like the bedroom just said, I was studying, reading some Secret of Secrets by Abdul Qadir Jilani. You know the Secrets of Secrets, made it plain in plain English. Ask Sheikh Sufi. You know what I'm talking about. Love and light, family. Salam alaikum. Big up, Cheikha Zema Love Fire, fire.
Yeah, thanks, Sheikh Saleh. Brother Corey Salam, you have a question.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. More of a statement. Love and abundance, Cheikha Fire, for your station, your downloads of where you are. You explained that so well, and you gave us all a constant reminder, Derijef, for your blessings. And again, more fire to you, no pun intended.
Give back, Shakruz. Definitely never take that badly. I Cheikha Zema Love Fire, you know. I came with both. I got the love and the fire, you know, and I do have to use them both. It is necessary to have that balance. So I'm grateful for it. Once I learned how to balance it out, I'm grateful for it, I should say. I had to raise my light quotient to understand even what I had. So that's the beauty in that.
Ashe.
Ashe. Anyone else have anything they would like to say or comment or a question or anything they'd like to share? right, and I'm gonna go read the comments right quick. Oh, thanks, Sheikh Sufi. Oh, Corey, now the teacher, you didn't want it, but threw it back at me. Okay. I see you. I see you. I see you. Give thanks. All right. Well, on that note.
Assalamu give thanks, give thanks, give thanks.
Oh,
the book said it won't be water but fire next time. And you surely are the fire. You are what you are. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks.
Oh, we got Queen Dr. Mama Ayaba Bay. Give thanks, give thanks. Oh my gosh, Derijef that's beautiful. I'm I don't always have I have a lot of words, but I really just want to take the time to just share my gratitude, and my thanks to, Sheikh Sufi Ba, all of the sheikhs in the order who have nurtured and supported me, have just shown up, to my aid. I really appreciate it. If you've given me a zikr or taught me, I'm just grateful. Grateful to be here, grateful to have been called to be here. When I come and I have the honor of sitting in front of you all, it is from the most humble space. I love teaching and speaking, I love engaging you all. And I love when I'm able to support you all as well. So I just want to say, thank you for allowing me to serve you all, and it just was so beautiful to meet and see so many of you all at, the retreat in Toccoa, Georgia. It was truly a blessing to be able to put that together and share space with y'all. It took me a few days to realize, like, oh my gosh, like that really happened, it just was so beautiful. And definitely still riding on a lot of that energy. So just want to just say, just thank you, love, light, and just praises and, all of the wonderful and good things to your heart, to your person and to your families, So just wanted to say that. All right, well, on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll close us out with oh. Just go ahead and do that. It's a little easier when I do it. Okay, make sure. Right upon light, give thanks. So I'm gonna go ahead and close us out here with our Fatiha. And again, appreciate y'all so much. Love and light. All right. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Irrahmanirrahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim. Ghayril maghdubi alaihim. Wala dallin. Amin.
Ameen. Ameen.
Ameen. Ameen.
Ameen.
Thanks, Derijef. Love and light, everyone. SubhanAllah.
Assalamu alaikum, Cheikh. Good job. Asalaam.